You got to do the hashtags on Twitter. How else are people going to see it?
Oh, that's what we're doing. I see. Okay. I was going to say, I was like, you're like, we're live, by the way.
I'm just sitting over here typing.
All right.
Hey, I'm just letting the world have a chance to experience this, whatever this is.
Yeah.
you know.
I get you. I understand.
We got your eclectic background, my white wall with a child's table. We got my shelf of games that you can barely see. It's nice. It's nice.
How dare you?
I like
this has been cultivated over several decades. How dare you?
What? That's not like a bad word to say about it.
Eclectic is a fun way of saying cheap and busy. I don't want to hear it, dude. I'm from South and poor areas. I know what eclectic means. Okay.
That's not how I meant it, though.
Yeah,
I meant it in
every
the
time
Oxford Dictionary sense of the word. I meant it as the most. I love it.
I'm sure you
dude.
did.
I wish I could have a bunch of shit. There's no way for me right now. It's
All I'm saying is every time I've been into a trailer before, somebody's been like, "Wow, this is an eclectic place." And you go, "Ah."
I think that's like an ironic use of the. Hold on.
It is.
That's
why when you said it, I took offense. Yeah. Give me what it is. Give me the whole
deriving ideas, style, or taste from a broad and diverse range of sources. That's what's going on back there.
Let me translate that for you. A bunch of shit. It's like thrown about. No theme is what it is.
This is definitely not what I meant. Definitely not what I meant. Did
Something
you have
in
an
my room
assistant going off or something?
Yeah, something in here just spoke.
Is it your phone?
No? Oh, it's my watch. No wonder it was moving. I was like, where the fuck is this coming from?
Oh, dude.
I guess if you say a bunch of shit, Siri just pops up and is like, do you need something? Do you need Amazon?
You need to work through your frustrations with me?
Yeah. Actually, there's a bit. Oh, you know what? First of all, I'm sorry. Before we do this, I do have some. Remind me about the word Amazon. But hey, everybody, welcome to this episode. It's your birthday, the only podcast that gets you a gift every single week. And this week, it's no different. And that gift, as always, is video games from inside this tube of ear cleaner tips, or maybe inside this lighter. Who knows? Well, what's that? Is that a Monster Hunter? Maybe there's a video game in there. Dude, you can find video games everywhere now. They're all over the damn place. They're littering my walls, according to Christian. And they're all over my eclectic setup here. But yeah, what I was going to say before I had to introduce the show. No. You're falling on that sword.
Go ahead.
Before, sucks. But no, you can get Amazon Alexa just on your computer now, which I think is hilarious, where it's like, we've tapped everything else. You think you can let us into your computer too a little bit harder? And you're like, I guess so, dude. And I just saw an ad for it today. Is the only reason I thought about it. But it was
you literally know everything about me already. Why not?
Yeah, what else do you want from me, Alexa? What do you need, Amazon? Okay. What else? What other information do you want, Bezos?
Yeah, for
Good
sure.
God.
The
he
funny
finds
thing
out
is that
you support Elon Musk instead, so all the prices on Amazon are like $1 or $2 more, like than everybody else.
Yeah, and Alexa starts calling you bad names. Like you start asking Alexa for things, and it's just like, sure, dick face, and you're like,
yeah, it's like, why don't you ask Musk? And you're like, what was that, Alexa? And it's like, I'm looking for the item you want. Like,
ask your new friend Musk.
Yeah, why don't you just ask Musk then? And you're like, what, dude?
Yeah, if you want help so bad. Yeah, give him a ring.
See if Elon can send you a 6-pack of dish soap for $4, you dickhead. And you're like, wow, man, I guess he can't.
Dude, so like,
got me beat.
How many of the assistants have you tried? Like, how many of like the?
None of them. Although I did have, because it's not that I don't trust. I mean, everybody's got your information already anyway. It doesn't really. That's not the part that gets me. I just don't have a use for it. Like talking to any, like, I don't know, just talking to my house. It's like when I was buying a stupid smartwatch, like the guy's like, hey, and you can press a button and then you can say like, hey, remember the milk. And I'm like, I'm not a fucking secret agent who just needs milk. Like I can remember to get milk. I don't want my watch to be like, hey, dumbass, did you get any milk? I'm like, no. Oh, no. Thanks for reminding me. Like, I'm not going to send their voice memos like, hey, don't forget. Hey, you gotta do dishes when you get home. Don't forget. Yeah,
I never use it for that stuff. I never use it for that stuff. The most I do is like, hey, how do I make this if I'm cooking something? Hey, what's the weather? Hey, what time is it when I don't want to look at my phone to look at the time?
Got the time right there. There it is.
Like,
easy.
I was curious because like I've tried all of them at this point. The reason I say is because like I was listening to a podcast and I was like,
gross.
I was listening. I was listening to like crime podcasts or whatever. But
sure.
I hate when podcasts do this thing where like I use Google Podcasts primarily. And like it'll pull like episodes, and I was listening to this one and it got to episode 5 of the first season, and then like I was like, oh shit, it's really getting spicy. And then like it was like, well, to listen to more of this, go to Amazon's music app. And I was like, okay. So I installed that. And like it was like, do you want to use Amazon Alexa as your phone's like assistant? And I'm like, no, dude. I've already been pitched Cortana on my phone. I've been pitched the Samsung Bixby bullshit. I've been pitched every one of these fucking things under the sun, and the only one that I've ever like devoted any kind of like anything into is the Google thing, because it's just it is what it is. But I'm not even in that, like, I don't know.
I think that one just
seems
works
like
the
such a
best
weird
because,
space.
again, their search engine is like the best, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only reason that one's the better one, is because it searches better. Like Safari kind of sucks. Like Firefox is not great. Microsoft Edge also kind of sucks. So it's like Google's about it.
You're gonna love my hot takes because I could tell.
I mean, it's probably got better. I haven't used it in like 6 years. I really don't know. I'll
say
the
this.
last time I fucked with it, I didn't care for it.
Chrome is arguably the most, like, the better performing, fastest browser. So
it's the most resource intensive too, though, for that reason. So it's like not ideal in some scenarios.
There's an open source like framework called Chromium, and Microsoft put that into Edge, but Edge uses less memory. Like, if you ever look at Chrome, it's just using like almost like 4 gigs of RAM for no fucking reason. Edge is better about that, but yeah. But
yeah, well, it's still
I don't want to die on that. I don't use Bing. I still won't use Bing. Don't fucking pitch me Bing.
The problem is like you go to any of these websites, you're still going to Google. Like, it's not like you're going anywhere else to search for anything. You're not going to Yahoo to find some fucking answers. Like, you're still just going to... Well, especially now that Yahoo Answers doesn't exist anymore. But when it did, you're only going there to find out like what kind of fish oil works as lubrication for your cat's asshole, or like whatever it is that people ask Yahoo Answers stuff about. But the like... I just know they're all unnecessary. Like, I've only ever used Siri as a bit. Like, I've never used it earnestly. I've only ever done it as a goof. So it's like I don't think any of the, and like my dad got an Alexa, and his brother, or not his brother got it like another whatever. And so the big thing for them was they made them talk to each other, but still that's a goof. I consider that also a goof. So even when you buy them with full intent, you're still like, I guess I just use it as a joke. And then and then like Larry and them making them just fart at their house, rip ass is fun, but they're just like, it's like a weird cure for loneliness that's like still makes you feel even lonelier because it's like some robot woman talking to you. I don't know.
Oh, and half the time they don't
see the use.
Half of the time you feel like you're talking to a wall anyway. Like, if I'm driving and I don't want to like pull my phone off the mount, I'm like, hey Google, hey Google, hey Google, and I'll say it over and over again. It recognizes me right now. But sometimes, like, I just feel scorned in a way.
Well, that's the thing, too, is, like, it only ever pops up, like, on accident. I've said Siri, like, 15 times. It hasn't done a single thing until I said... Oh, actually, I take that back. I looked at it this time and said it, and that changed things. But beforehand, it's just, like, it popped up for... I don't even know what the word was I used, and it happened. So I don't know. Yeah. Again, the utility of it... Like, it might be nice to play music, but... Chances are, if I'm playing music in the house, I'm at my computer where my music is. So I don't really have a need to take that one step away. And by virtue, probably adds like 3 additional steps because it probably won't fire off the first time I need it to anyway. And then I got to, I don't know. I might as well just open the thing and go for what I want. I'm old school in my streamline media intake or search.
Yeah. I'm too old to change. But the other thing is that the AI future is here, but they all kind of suck. So
yeah, they're all kind of dumb a little bit, but maybe they're all just playing dumb, shitty. So we trust them, and then they come fuck around on us. Maybe that's what it is. They're playing possum right now, and then they're gonna really turn it around at some point. Oh, is that a red dot sight on my shirt? Weird. They just knew.
Yeah.
But hey, that has nothing to do with video games, except I'll segue right here, dog. Amazon's New World has an open beta on the 7th or the 8th, and you can sign on. I think it's actually. I think it starts the 9th. You can sign up on the 8th, but that's an open beta. You don't have to pre-order any of that business. So there's an Amazon trend. There's a nice segue from Amazon to video games. And New World seems pretty good, but who knows?
It seems good. It seems
pretty good.
Speaking of betas, I got invited to the next test flight for Halo Infinite, so I'll probably have some stuff to say about that the next time we do this. I am looking forward.
Guns in space, but I don't. It's hard to say.
You might. You might.
Okay.
You might.
I know I'm going out on a wild limb, but I just want to make sure that I have my predictions set before you tell us the truth.
Yeah. I mean, hey, this time you're going to be able to. Well, I don't know about in the multiplayer, but you're going to be able to grapple around, be real cool, and swing, and you know.
Well, remember
they're changing it up. They're adding one gimmick.
Well, you can tell because there's a grappling hook that game was initiated a few years back when grappling hooks and ropes were a pretty big sell for games for some reason. We just started getting a lot of them. So it's good to know when the development began, at least on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's everything about Halo Infinite seems positive. I think it was good that they took the year to goof on it some more because it was, I don't know. I've never been a huge Halo person, so I don't really have any expectations either way. But they've always been fun games to play. I just don't I'm not down about any of them.
I mean, it's funny. I do love Halo, but I also feel like I was one of those dudes that was always just bring Halo to PC, Master Chief Collection on PC. And now that it's here, I've played it maybe 10 hours. I've maybe put that much time into it.
I couldn't even do that. I think I maybe did the first 4 missions of the first and second game, and then I didn't pick up any more of them. I was fine. And again, the package, if you like that stuff, is really reasonable.
Yeah.
And that multiplayer that has every game in it, that's super interesting. But yeah, as far as the game, if Infinite, I mean, I don't know. I will say I'm a sucker for open world games. So if the single player of that game is that, then I'll probably pick it up. If it turns out it's whatever, then that free to play multiplayer is probably all I need out of that game. I don't think.
I think it's funny because you always see people they went too far away from what made Halo good in the first place. But the other thing is that you also see
wasn't it that Master Chief said words and that's too far out?
Sure.
I don't know. Again, I don't really remember.
Well, what I mean is that but I mean this applies to gaming in general. Is that if you're trying to iterate on something that's grown stale, you have the people that are oh well, you didn't I wanted to play Halo. I didn't want to play this Halo grappling around, swinging like Tarzan. And then you have the other people that are just yeah, but you didn't go far enough. So you got to find a really happy medium, I guess, when you're doing things. That's why I think the Dead Space thing is going to come out and be very well received.
Well, yeah, because Dead Space is they're just remastering that game basically. I don't think they're doing anything else. I mean, the remasters have.
The way they describe it is that they're rebuilding it from the ground up. So it's not just they're taking old assets and just up-resing everything and here's that game. It's got the same foundation and the same story kind of, but the way that they made it seem, they did a stream a few days ago talking about this stuff.
I was kind of holding off watching because I've loved that series, so I'll just get it anyway. I don't really have any qualms about picking it up, so I hadn't really paid any attention.
it is just refreshing to hear that versus like, oh, we just took a bunch of old assets and made them look better. Like,
I much prefer that because I've been playing, what was it, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning or whatever it is, and like it's, I don't know, it's fine. Like it still holds up like aesthetically. It's not like the worst looking game anyway, but it definitely doesn't look like a 4K game now. Like it
no.
It just looks I don't know, slightly sharper and smoother in some areas, and then the motion blur just looks like a weird haze over everything. Like it's fine. It's fine. It's not like anything super breathtaking.
The way I see it, it's like your Crash trilogy, Spyro trilogy, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 versus your Kingdoms of Amalur, like a Saints Row remaster. They're on like different, like completely
Mafia
different planes.
Still kind of the same game.
Yeah.
So I'm more in. Yeah, I'm happier to see that that's well, because it worked out. Resident Evil 2 worked out. I mean, anybody that's like followed the formula and just did slight tweaks, it's all turned out really good. I mean, Tony Hawk in a lot of ways they did massive tweaks, and having just replayed that game again for the now like third time, it's a great. I mean, it's an amazing remaster. It's so good in every aspect.
You know what game?
Like, it's so.
You know what game they should do that with?
A lot of them, but go ahead, name one.
Diddy Kong Racing. They should do it with Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah,
that's what they should do. That's what they should do.
Yeah, they did, and they called it Mario Kart, and then they kept going because it was good. So I think that, I mean, your wish already came true, brother.
You can't drive a plane in Mario Kart. Having a glider doesn't count.
Oh, okay. Well, let's pick your second favorite franchise and then just have Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is the next best thing. So anyway, moving on to video games that are more in the present. The delusions of a 30-year-old man.
I do want to say I got a new graphics card. I haven't talked about it on here yet.
Congratulations, by the way. You fought hard and long. And then got lucky, like, which is the only way to get any of these things currently. It's really, you just keep fighting until you go, oh, it happened. And that's it.
Well, so here's the scenario, right? So, like, I have a buddy at work, and like, we all are a part of these, like, email notifications, like your Newegg, like, Shuffle, and, like, the EVGA notifications. Like, we're all part of this stuff. So we all sign up for it at the same time.
We all feel very popular right now.
Well, like,
really the thing.
Well, my buddy was like, hey, I bought a 3060 Ti.
I got pre-approved for the mortgage. So
I got pre-approved
now.
He basically got an email that was like, hey, come back at this time. You are like able to get this product, right? And then he got a second one. He got like a second one for a slightly better 3060 Ti and was like, hey, man, I'll just sell you the original one I got for retail. He could have like fucked me or somebody else on it, but it's really cool to like have somebody kind of do you solid on that.
Like, you ain't goofing off. Like,
sure. Yeah.
Because then your friend's not gonna buy it, and then you question them forever. You go like, I don't know anymore actually about you, dude. You had the chance to be real cool, and you're just kind of a dickhead.
Yeah. No, I mean that's why I was like super. I mean, I knew he wouldn't dick me around on it, but it was just cool to like see that and like.
Well, the beauty of that too is he can't, because you can just do this. No. And that's it.
That's right.
It's very easy.
That's right.
Yo, nah, dude.
But he put it out there and was like, hey, I got this one. Does anybody want the original one? And I was like, hand up. I was like the first one. So, yeah.
You just like send him a bunch of horny messages.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't shut up.
Voicemail.
Like, he put that message out there and I kept like messaging him. And he was like, sorry, I was in the bathroom.
Dude. Sorry, friends. Me.
I didn't.
I'm the only
really.
one
I'm not
here.
that annoying, but dude, I was so excited. So anyway,
I bet
3060
you're a little
Ti.
bit more proactive.
A little
with your
bit.
text. I get it.
I reached a little bit. But 3060 Ti. It's honestly better than I thought it was going to be. I went to ultra wide not too long ago, and it could handle some things, but some games were obviously beyond what I was able to do. But everything I've thrown at it.
60 before?
I had a 2060 Super, yeah.
Okay.
And
so like a 3060 Ti?
3060 Ti XC from EVGA.
Right.
So
well,
yeah,
it just
it's
means extra cool. So I just left that part out.
Extra neat. Dude, to be honest, I mean, and I think it's because it's like the low tier of the 30 series, but like ray tracing in some games seems to be fine, and then in others it's like a total mess. And like I'd like to see a little more uniformity in the performance there, but I don't know. It just seems
I haven't really. Well, it really depends on if DLSS is present, because if it is, then it's pretty good. If it's not, then
it is in every case that I've done it, but also like some games have like the older set, older DLSS and haven't updated to like 2, and it's a whole other realm of just like compatibility and like messing around with performance.
I honestly, like, I haven't tried ray tracing. I mean, because I've got the 2080 Ti, and I still haven't tried ray tracing on it much. Because really, there was some like driver bug when Cyberpunk was out that like any game with ray tracing, I could play it for like 15 minutes. And then the game would just freeze frame, but all the music and everything would still be playing. The picture would just freeze for whatever reason. And I haven't really tried it since, but I tried like Metro and Control and all this. Because I at first it was like, oh, Cyberpunk's fucked in a couple of ways. It's probably just that again.
I had that issue with Resident Evil Village. That same exact problem you're describing. It was so weird. It would happen every 10 minutes.
It was like 10 to 15 on the dot. It's like freeze frame, and then that's it. And it would play beautifully beforehand. Like I was playing Control at like, I don't know, 110, 120 some frames with ray tracing on with whatever settings I had, and then that's it. And though I actually am excited. I'm really excited to play that because the complete edition was on PlayStation for like $10. So I got for the PS5 version of that game. So I'm excited to go through that and the DLC because I've never seen any of them. And I also really liked Alan Wake. That's like one of my favorite horror game, I guess.
I heard that
the thriller or whatever.
Well, and I don't want to ruin anything for you.
I don't think it's much about Alan Wake as it seems like it is. I think it's just set in a similar wheelhouse, but I really don't know. I don't know anything about it, to be honest. I just knew it was inspired by or had something to do with it. It's the same universe, I guess.
There's a DLC called like AWE, which is Alan Wake Experience, and from what I heard, it was like polarizing. So I'll be interested to see how you feel about it. But anyway,
yeah, I want to go back and play that first game. I wish there was a remaster of that game because I would like to play that with some slightly up-res thing and maybe some performance or whatever. Because Alan Wake's is a real sleeper hit, and it was like they didn't. I think it's because the second game sucked. It didn't suck. It was just like a weird kind of wave-based shooter thing where you're like, the other game was like a psychological thriller in this like
American Wasteland came out for like $15 though, didn't it? Like it was
it wasn't.
cheap.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't much of anything. It was just. I think that soured some people where you're like, oh, we get another Alan Wake thing, and it's just this, which was fine. Like it was fine.
Combat just wasn't the strength of that game. Like it really,
no. The atmosphere and the narrative styling and everything else was way more interesting. Like the gameplay was neat because they had it was like one of the first games that have a mechanic of like light being your source of damage or whatever. But yeah, they should do more with that franchise. That was a cool. What I'd love, really, is if they somehow pulled the Psychonauts route and waited like 10 years and put out just a banger of a sequel. That would be great for me. Although, in a lot of ways, Control kind of is that, I guess. Like, it's just a...
Yeah.
Because that's a great game. I mean, it's a great game, too. So
I do want to see how Control performs on this thing, so I might install that because I'm interested. Because, like, I could run the ray tracing a little bit on the 2060 Super at 1080, but forget about it at ultra-wide. So I'm curious to see. Also, like,
I mean, Control's like the showcase for ray tracing still all the time. You see it in almost anything when they mention ray tracing. Control's like right there. So
Quake 2 RTX looks really good, by the way. Quake 2 RTX is Quake 2 RTX. It looks really good too, and Minecraft RTX as well. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, that was neat. Yeah. That was like a fun game, so that was even cooler that you could actually enjoy the thing you're looking at. I'm sorry, I just don't care about Quake.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. But the card's been able to handle everything I threw at it. What was concerning though is that like Psychonauts 2 on PC has a really weird and you may have experienced this too. I thought it was my card acting up and I was like really sad about it, but word got out that it's an issue with the engine on Psychonauts. But yeah, if you
isn't it like a shader hiccup thing?
It's a shader hiccup. Yeah, they announced it on Twitter that they're looking into it and they'll patch it. But like,
mine didn't really happen until they put that first patch out to address it, and then I started getting it because it was like pretty fine before that. I would get it a little bit, but it wasn't. I mean, I usually had just been booting up the game and letting it sit for a couple minutes anyway, and then it seemed to be fine.
Yeah, I mean that was the only hiccup. I mean, we can move on to Psychonauts too.
I mean, we might as well. We got a few other games to talk about, but that's probably the one we've got the most to say. So yeah, I mean,
what a game. What a game. I beat it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about anything that you haven't seen.
But so I'm in a lot of ways I don't know that I want to talk about a lot of it yet as a spoiler anyway for people because it's still, I mean, it's really new. But I will say up to, because honestly, once I'm finished with it, I think we should just do a full episode about it and tag it with some other shit if you're interested in that part of it. But yeah, I'm up to, I think I'm up to the bowling alley, but I did the other two. So I did I did the music experience, which is from a lot of the trailers. So if you've seen any trailer for this game, you've seen like a clip of that. And then what are we doing here?
Oh, I'm doing the opening mission, like just the first bit.
Better be careful, dude. These YouTubers, dude, you don't know where they're gonna go. But yeah, it was yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, we both played the first game beforehand, which I think you should all do, especially if you have Game Pass.
I think it's worth playing that for sure, yeah.
I mean, honestly, my issues with the first game are the same issues I have with the second game. But they're much improved in the second game. But like the platform is still like a little imprecise for what I would want sometimes, and like some of the camera work makes it a little odd for some jumps or whatever. But other than that, I mean, it performs like beautifully and like it's super interesting. Like all the framing of scenes and stuff are. Dude, you about to shred you about to shred this? Are you sure? Our stream's about to disappear, my dog.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
But yeah, like the camera panning in a lot of scenes is really nice. Like especially in questionable area, there's like a lot of really good camera framing of just things you're doing as you're walking by it. Like they put a lot of cinematic feel to this game, like more than the first one. I mean, it really feels like technology just caught up with Tim Schafer's brain a little bit. Is like really what it feels like. Is like the whole thing just kind of finally they got to the point where he's like, oh, I can finally express the ideas I've had for a long fucking time. And because I mean, you look at any Tim Schafer game, there's a lot of like the same things, but this just feels like a real love letter to all of it. And yeah, man, it's so much fun. Like the new powers are all really neat and good to use. Like the combat is like so much. I mean, it's a part of the game now, really. Where
for sure,
like,
yeah.
Which may throw you off, like if you didn't necessarily love or need to do it. But I think the combat's like fun and weirdly difficult at times. Like
I do like that it doesn't overstay its welcome, though. I think that the combat is like a good segue into like the storied stuff, and the platforming in this game I think far exceeds what it used to be.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. Like I don't think it's bad in either game. Just as a point of reference, I think it's much better in this one than the first one. And again, that's like my only real criticism with the game thus far, or that first game either, is just first game, some of the boss fights overstay their welcome a little bit, and I think just because it's still a 2000s platformer at its heart, so it's like required that you have these things, I guess. And here it's like everything is it's so much more honed in and streamlined, I guess, in a lot of ways. Like everything is, and actually, okay. It's the same thing I'll say about the first game, because, again, they're very similar. Like, they really do feel like a direct continuation, just improved on vastly, like, with 10 years of experience and graphical fidelity and all this other stuff. But the thing I love about both of these games is, like, there is no fluff to any of these games. Like, everything is with, like, sheer intent. I mean, even the collectibles are like designed to look aesthetically part of the environment. So like everything is placed very particularly and very meticulously. Like it's all, just done with intent, which is something you don't really see often enough, or like to this degree of like. Well, and I guess to that end too, about Psychonauts as a whole is like the collectibles themselves are like more narratively involved also than any other game, really. Like they've made it to where it's like and again, like the figments, that's only a collectible in people's minds because that wouldn't show up in the real world, so it's like tied to that idea. And then those are all, you know, drawn and specific to each person, and then the scene that these collectibles are in and all that, like it's all very specific. And then like, you know, when you find that, and again, none of this is new if you've played either of these games, but it's like it's just, I think, something to highlight because it is something really that you don't ever see. But yeah, like the, you know, I don't know what is the actual name of the lockers? Like
the lockers.
Like the ones that look like dogs that you open that give you like a slideshow. I just can't think
of
like
vaults. The vaults. Yeah.
Yeah, the memory vaults. So yeah, it's like the memory vaults, you know, it just shows you it's narrative like right there that's like very simple. It's almost like a Pixar short, but it's, you know, it's a slideshow, so it's obviously not animated, but it is like this quick like, well, what is beautiful about it is like you go through this guy's mind and you're like, this is all like, oh, it's beautiful, there's all this whimsy and all this, and then you're like, here's why this guy's mind is so fucking wild, though. So here, get an idea of like why this shit's so fun and crazy. I think because this guy's got a lot going on.
The first game had some dark stuff going on, but the second one, I think, really, it really captures like a tone between like each character. Because like,
well, it's.
There's a central theme here, where like the first one, like, you know, you kind of. It was more sporadic, and like the backstories were a little bit more like tailored for each character. This one has like a theme around it. Like, why are all these characters like experiencing like these traumas, and they all seem to like center around a central idea, and it feels more cohesive as far as like a storytelling perspective goes. Well, it's more touching to me than I think the first one was as well. Because of that.
Well, absolutely. Well, you know a lot of the characters already, so you kind of have an idea of what's going on with them. And I think like they also do a really good job of like, I think, expressing mental health issues while not holding back of how terrifying they are, but also allowing you to know, like, to show that like there's still a person involved in this, even though they're nuts or to others or to like themselves even at times or whatever. It's like there's a human in all that somewhere. So it's like if you take the time to look through them, you'll see that. Like, and that's, I think, the overall shaping narrative for every sort of vignette or something is just like, here's, you know, this person's particular mental issue, and here's, you know, what it's done to them, and then here's how you can maybe help them cope with it. And I think like it's exciting too, because it's like you could play through this game and never have that really like stand out to you, I don't think, and you'd still have a great time like seeing this story. And then like, because the story itself is like from where I'm at now is still pretty well put together, I think, for what's happening. And like it's it's somewhat, you kind of know what's happening, but it is nice to see it unfold in different interesting ways and whatever. And yeah, I just I don't know. It's and I've said this to anybody that's asked me about it so far, is like it's a work of art. Like there's no other way to explain this game other than like everything about it is just so specific to this artist and these artists, you know, that are making this game. But again, really Tim Schafer and his team, it's like, I don't know. I can't describe it any other way. A lot of games are like fun or this or whatever, but this is like one of those few games that fully like encompasses to me like what games are supposed to be. It's like Yakuza was like that in a lot of ways. It's like, it's fun, it's serious, it's got everything that you kind of want out of a game while still feeling like a game. But you know, there's just more to it than most. And
I'm just happy
I think
that
you see, yeah.
I was just saying I'm happy that Double Fine exists and that they've been able to persevere through like the things that they've been through and like all the corporate red tape. Like they really did lead the charge on like the whole independent like crowdfunded like gaming idea, and like they've landed with each, and like even their smaller like indie stuff that they've done, like Stacking and some of those other weird little titles that they've done. They're expressing ideas, and they're doing narratively cool things that I think some other studios may not be. I think it's gotten better. Like indie games, of course, have like a way better and bigger platform, and I think games are starting to like say stuff and mean more than beyond just games. But there is something to like somebody being able to live out like their creative vision. And be able to do it so autonomously, and I respect them for that.
Well, and I think that's, honestly, I think one of the big reasons that those games do exist is because of Double Fine or Tim Schafer and his team. I mean, they've always you even go, you go back to like Grim Fandango, and then like Day of the Tentacle and all of his other games, like they're all that. It's just somehow they got lucky at the beginning where they were like, we'll fund any game because we don't know what games are supposed to be. And then it got closed off to like, we just need the games that make money. And then he's like, no. These are still worth making. Please, let's make these also. And I think that's a big push for them. And also, I mean, good on Microsoft for putting money at them too, to let them keep going and like take it that probably extra 10 to 15% across the line. Because like, who knows what... I mean, not to say that they... I mean, because as far as I know with Microsoft, they're like, they buy you and then they let you do whatever. They're like, we want your company, goodbye. Which is also Microsoft thing of sort of like, we need exclusives. Please just make something for us. But I think that... them being able to pursue that and give them there. Because it's not like... Because that's the thing, too, is like most Double Fine games have always been really interesting and really unique and fun, but they've never been like... the best put together game as far as like a game goes. Like they're always like a little janky in some areas, like not buggy necessarily, but like they have their own hiccup and whatever. But that sort of adds to it's kind of in the same way that like Skyrim wouldn't be the same thing if you didn't, have the bugs, or like Demon Souls or Dark Souls isn't the same if you don't have ragdoll bodies. Like there's this, there's just like some thing there. But I think that them having like the backing for that really gave them the opportunity to like really dial in a pretty excellent experience across the board. Because you see the refinement without them making other games like it, to where it's like the combat's way better here, the platforming is way better. Like you see all these things that have like changed with their development side that are from a type of game they're not making all the time. So it's like there's some influence there that's definitely helping. But yeah, I think really again if you like games at all, and I've said this for a few different games, but if you like games at all, both of these games are worth seeing for sure. Like there's no question about it. Like
I have like a very newfound like appreciation for Psychonauts in general, and it really makes me want to see that franchise like continue in some form.
And I need to see how this game ends before I say that, but like. I do wonder about that, like, because I do sort of wonder if it's that thing of like where we overstay the welcome with this stuff. Like, I'm not saying I'm not fully open to more of this, but I do wonder if you're able to, like, honestly, I would almost want like an animated series.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that like playing the game? I get like. I got this vibe when I was playing it where I was just like, this reminds me of like sitting down and like watching like Saturday morning cartoons in a way.
Yeah. In a lot of ways,
I get like this vibe of just like they could. I don't want to see them overmarket this shit out of it, but like also I hope that this is like a good stepping stone for Psychonauts to get more public attention. Because I think it deserves it. It easily deserves
100%. Yeah, I mean it's an easy game of the year contender already, if not the game. I mean, as far as this year goes, it's like
I was gonna say, like
I'd have to double check when Yakuza came out like a dragon, but if that wasn't this year, then That might be it. That might be the full top of my list right there.
Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil Village is up there, but for sure, like this just feels like
more. I mean, Village was great, but I like this way more than that.
It's an expertly crafted game with like an integrity to it that I think can't be like overstated. It's very good.
And to that end, that's why I worry about like more sequels or whatever. And it's like, how do you follow up a game that took you 15 years to follow up now? Like, how do you follow that up? Like,
I never played Brutal Legend, but I know people like who played that game love that game, and so I re-downloaded it and I'm like working through it. I can see the flaws in the game like as I'm playing it, but overall it's fun. I would like to see them tackle that with like the tech that they have now and like their storytelling abilities, and I think that there is a support for that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm fully trusting, and I really always. I mean, to me, even like, I can't remember the name of it, but the game they made with like Halloween kids,
Costume Quest.
Costume Quest. Yeah, both of those, and then like, really, whatever that studio is ready to make, I'm here for it. I have been the whole time, and I've yet to be fully disappointed by anything. Some stuff I've obviously liked more than others, but like. Nothing they've put out to me has been like a real bummer. Like it's all been interesting for what it is. I get, it's all. I think a lot of his games again, and why I think I compare it to just like art in general is like it's like you're really just trying to see what they're showing you is really the thing with his games, and I think that, they're better for it. I mean, we could play another Call of Duty, but you should play a game like this.
And I think that. I hate to like turn this into an Xbox conversation, but I think that that's really going to set Xbox apart from like anything that Sony or Nintendo is really doing, even though they're not like really directly competing with Nintendo. It's just like Microsoft seems to be putting their chips in a lot of really creative studios, and they're giving them like ultimate freedom. Where like before, you hear stories about like during the Xbox 360 era when they were like trying to get exclusives, and they were very hands-on with the creative process and kind of had their thumb over every operation that their studios were doing. It feels like they're learning
what to do. Like it was like
exactly
not really knowing what they're making, but knowing that they have a very specific idea of what they're trying to really mimic for a long time. Like it wasn't even really like they were coming up with too many fresh things.
I just think that's gonna set them apart. I think Sony's gonna have their big banger games, and like they're gonna be hit or miss here and there. But I think for the most part, a Sony first party title is gonna be pretty damn good. Like, but I don't see Sony putting their chips in like so many bets. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just.
Well, there's only so many studios left between fucking Epic and Microsoft. It's really hard to go, well, who's left? Like, who can we get that has, like, made an actual game yet that we want to buy? Because, like, Microsoft basically has EA at this point, or at least to some extent. Although, I guess, I think that EA... No, the EA Pass is separate on PlayStation. I was just thinking, but no, it's definitely.
I would not be surprised within the next 5 years if we see some sort of EA like Microsoft like merger kind of situation. I would not be surped. Like,
I mean, I don't really.
It seems far fetched, but. I mean,
it really just depends on the deal. It's like, what's the money they're getting? Because like we were talking about with like Bethesda's thing, it's like I don't know how much money they gave them, but if they're cutting off 2 platforms, that's a fuckload of money. So I don't know, like what. I don't know. If they can't release Skyrim anymore on other shit after this, I don't know what they like.
If they fucking made an $8 billion bet on Bethesda, like then they don't have. They have no reservations. Actually, was it 8 billion or was it like 80 billion? Hold on.
I don't know. It's a fuckload of money either way. But, I mean, Todd Howard obviously has been living fat after that, as you can clearly see on my monitor.
7.5 billion. So
that's a pretty decent chunk. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
For one company that just makes a game every 10 years and then remakes that game 10 times.
Yeah.
Well, adds mod support 10 times. I don't know.
Play Psychonauts 2. It's good. I wish the PC version had, or I wish every version. I do kind of wish it had some like ray tracing. That game would look really good with like some.
It already
some
looks
cool lighting.
really nice. Like
it looks phenomenal, but just a little something else. It would be.
You just got this card and you're horny about it. It's really not that amazing. Like I've played a lot of stuff with ray tracing. It's hit or miss, really. It's like
the games that do it appropriately do it like it. There's games that do it appropriately, and there's games that like Control is one. Like Control, I think it really adds to the atmosphere and the look of that game. Fortnite, it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, the problem with it is that like you realize like the closer you get to real light, you're like, oh yeah, it's fucking bright outside. So like anything you go out is like really really bright, and like it's kind of hard to see shit, and like stuff gets really washed out because you can't even look at it because your eyes hurt. It's like, no, that's not all. I guess it's not all ray tracing or whatever. I'm thinking more aligned like with high dynamic range, but ray tracing is really getting closer to that. And like games that are brightly colored already, it doesn't work as well. Like it kind of washes it out. It's really like Control is like almost dark all the time. Not dark all the time, but it's very atmospheric dark cubicles and like weird like metal dungeons and stuff that are in
ray
this
tracing.
Building, so
ray tracing in the Ascent looks really good though. Like I like all the like colored lighting.
Yeah, but it's also pretty grimy, and the only color is neon lights that are already really bright. You know what I mean? It's like again, if you go like if you went to the questionable area, it would be really really bright. It would like I don't know. I just think I'm not saying don't have it, but we have gotten really good with just in-game engine lighting already. Like
sure.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you can do ray tracing without doing all the lighting stuff. Like a lot of these games, like have like you can enable ray tracing, but only enable it for like the soft shadows or like reflections, for example, and like you can turn off all that lighting stuff. I'm just trying to see what would improve the game beyond what it already is, and I don't know. I also don't want to talk it up way too much. Everybody, I think, should give it a chance, even if like platformers. I don't know
if you don't like it. Fuck you. It's a great game. I don't know what to tell you. As someone who's negative about almost every game to some extent, I'm telling you right now, it's a great game. Like I don't know. I mean,
I would not mind having a discussion on it when you beat it. I would not mind talking deeper about it.
Hopefully by next week, I should be done with it. But I've been really savoring the flavor of it because I've just, God, I love it.
Because the last game we did like a big expose on was Cyberpunk, and you know, we could use another exciting one.
Yeah. Well, that one was like polarizing, I guess, to a little bit. But here it's just going to be us talking about how good that game is for like an hour and a half, which is fine because that's kind of what we just did for like 20 some odd minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna talk about a few other games really quick that I kind of dipped into this week.
Roll through them
by holding on to Cyberpunk.
We do have a schedule to attend to tonight.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, we do though. We got that old Fortnite team.
There's a friends
schedule.
You sign up for a time slot to earn bonus X. We're broken, dude.
Work.
We're fucking broken. We're just
we started playing a lot of battle royales this week for some reason, but Naraka Blade Point, which I guess we could talk about that first because you played a little bit of it now too.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting concept, like better execution than I would have thought for the premise of Melee Battle Royale. It is one of those games though where if you see anybody with names that are Chinese characters, you might as well just stand still because it ain't gonna happen. And it's fun up until that point. I wouldn't mind like a little more, like especially comparing it because you kind of have to compare every battle royale now to Fortnite or Warzone, I guess, or mainly Fortnite, I guess, because it's like somehow the one of the longer, and I guess PUBG in the same way. But it's like these games if they don't have like a good like objective thing during the match, because a lot of battle royales is just fucking running to hopefully see somebody. And so having the like objectives or something to be more focused on, even than just like finding of people, and gathering of equipment or whatever. I think adds a lot to a game, and I would like to see a bit more of that here, and maybe some. I think there's some stuff that's like coming in that has more NPC fight, like creatures and something at some point. It seems like that's what's going on, which I would like to see. But yeah, the general movement feels really good for the most part. Like that grappling hook is real fun. In like the general combat, when you really do get one over on somebody, you're like, yeah, that was pretty satisfying because it's you know, you win a fucking sword fight with somebody, it's gonna feel pretty good. So it's like it's just yeah, it's a good fun game. The servers could be a little more stable, but I think that's like the main thing they're trying to work on.
The biggest issue I have is the fact that like they haven't found a way to like lock down the region stuff. Like it really is abysmal. Yeah. Like, and it's not even like
that's the crux of a VPN, right? Is like that you're using it for safety, but you can also use it to fuck around a little bit. And I think that's kind of what's happening here.
Yeah, I would just like a more level, because the pings and the skill, I guess, but more so the pings, because like I don't mind like going against difficult people, like that's fine.
No, I just need to know that it's not the network that's causing me the hang up. Like I want to know that it's like my mistake, not the game just not allowing something to happen.
Yeah, Naraka's cool. It's weird that game also has like a fully robust like character creator. So like you pick a base character
it's cool,
and you can like
that it does, but it is weird. I think it's because it's like it's like a game from overseas. Like they're pretty big on your aesthetic or whatever, which I get. I mean, fuck. I mean, check my bank account for the V-Buck, dog. But it's like I think that. Yeah, like it's cool that it's there because dude. Once you left, that's all I did actually was mess with my two favorite characters and create them, and they look fucking bananas now. It's like these crazy ass like purple dudes with a bunch of clown makeup on and some shit. Like I look wild now, and it's the game really allowed you to do that.
Yeah, it's like Dark Souls lets you get kind of crazy with it too. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
What say again?
Dark Souls, like how you can make your skin like bright pink and shit. Like I've seen a couple dudes. Yeah.
I think it's more in line with like what is that game? Black Desert. It's like that game really lets like you can shift your face to like where one side of your eyes are like the wrong direction, like just whatever, and your teeth are like coming out of your skull.
Where you look like a realistic Psychonauts character.
Like, yeah. That was dude. There was some post on Facebook that was like, I'm in this group that's like accidental surrealism is like the thing, but it was like a bunch of people that had their photos taken like in movement, so they're all ajar, and I was like, oh shit, dude, Psychonauts 3 came out already? It was like crazy looking because every single one of them just looked like a bananas character from that game. But yeah, I need to spend more time with this game. I think it's really cool. It's got some legs. I mean, it's got a player base already. Man, it had like 100,000 people playing it on Steam already, so it's clearly working well for them. The cosmetic stuff's unnecessary, but damn, it's expensive. In this game, it's like really expensive. But luckily, it's like if you're not into weeb shit, you're like probably fine to just play the character that you get. Otherwise, like, nothing's really stood out. I mean, you're not getting a Predator skin. You're not getting fucking Donald Glover or whatever is in Fortnite. And you're not getting
John Wilkes Booth.
You're not a pair of Yeezys with a machine gun or whatever it is that's in Fortnite. I can't remember, even though I definitely know that's not there. But yeah. So yeah, that was Naraka. That's a pretty good game. I think Tony Hawk's still a really good game. I was playing that again. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 Remastered is amazing. It's best sports game in the last 20 years. But yeah, Cloud Gardens is, I guess, the other major one I kind of want to talk about, because it is neat. It's real neat, but it's basically like, it's like one of these minimalistic pseudo like city builders, I guess is what you would call this. But it's more, this one I guess you're simulating a garden, and so the general premise is like, you start with a seed. And then you like plant it on there, and you get different seeds as you go through like the story or whatever. And then based on like it'll give you random you'll say trash, I guess, because it's all the theme is more apocalyptic or whatever. So you put like a rusted car down or like a trash can or a bent sign or whatever, and you can really like manipulate the items pretty well and like put them kind of wherever you want. But based on where you plant them, empowers the plant to grow more, and then it'll produce seeds, and so that's how you get like your next seed and whatever. And there's like an overall goal to it, and then or a goal of like plant coverage, I guess. Or so I don't it. It really doesn't explain a lot of stuff to you. It just kind of shows you what's happening. So it's like nice in that sense of sort of like you kind of don't know, but you do sort of have an idea of what's happening. No, excuse me. And then yeah, and then the creative mode has like every item in the game, all of it. It's like 500 or 600 pieces or whatever. There's like a ton of items in this game, so I could see yourself really getting buck wild with the actual creator to it. But yeah, if you're into this like any kind of aesthetic that's like, you know, Last of Us or Fallout or any apocalyptic whatever, and you like any kind of like of these, you know, these city things that have come up in the last couple months, the very simplified city builders that are just more sort of like more about showing you how to make cool looking dioramas basically, then this is your game, because this is easily my favorite one out of here. But again, I'm a huge fan of Fallout and all this, you know, any overgrown city or whatever.
There has been like an influx of these types of games, and they definitely are up my alley. I have a bunch of them on my wish list right now.
They're all really good. I'll name a few. Let me pull some up because I have a few on here that I've played over the. Oh yeah, Dwarf Romantic is pretty good. That one's
good.
That one's really neat, and actually is like has I guess more of a game to it.
It feels like a board game. Dwarf Romantic feels like a lot like a board game.
Yeah, it feels like you're setting up a campaign for somebody else to play, kind of like it's like, but there is like rules to it that you're following. Townscape is pretty good, but that one's I think farther on the artistic side of it, where you're really not. There is no real goal as far as I can tell. You're just kind of fucking around with the building, which is fun enough. But it could be
Islanders is another one. I just picked up Islanders. Yeah.
I was gonna say that was I think the first one I played, and that one's really good. Like that one's like it gives you a real sense of like putting a thing together. There's like there's a objective to it, I guess, overall, and yeah, that one's really good. But yeah, there's been quite a few of these, and they've all been good for what they're trying to do. This one specifically just strikes a core with me because, again, I just like the idea of anything abandoned or whatever. So, again, that's like, hey, decorate abandoned places. I'm like, got it. I'll do that. No problem. Because I picked it up on a whim and then sat there for like 3 hours. So, whatever. It's good. I think other than that, oh, yeah, we've been dipping into Dilbabo 3 or fighting the devil.
Kind of devil. So, like, I had it on Switch, but, like, most everybody I know plays it on PC, so I was like, fuck it, I'll get the expansion. I didn't get the Necromancer stuff, but I like the seasonal kind of stuff that they do in that game.
Yeah,
like, I like the format of it and the loop of it, so I'll keep playing that. But it really is almost in prep for, like, Diablo 2 Resurrected, which I'm vaguely interested in. But
I'm still, I don't know.
I'm vaguely
I feel like
interested.
Once I see everybody into it, then I'll probably end up getting it. But like, I don't care right now. I'd rather play Diablo 4 for my money, I guess.
For sure. But and then it also sucks because like you also have like the Blizzard stuff that's going on in the back of the mind, and it's like, fuck, do I really want to give these people money?
Well, maybe just keep playing Diablo 3 because you already own it, and then 4 might never happen if they keep.
They keep this shit up. They keep this shit going.
I don't know. Yeah, they keep goofing the fuck off over there.
I did also pick up Kataria Fables today, and I played it a little bit when I got home, but not much. So I might have more to say about that. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm holding off. I was really excited about it, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I don't know. I heard it was kind of short, and I sort of want those games to not end if I'm gonna get involved, and so that's like my sort of hesitation at the moment.
It might just push me to play more Rune Factory 4, or we'll see.
I mean, hey, great game. Yeah, because it's sort of that thing of like, I just want to dip in every couple of weeks and just see what my farm's up to and just goof off and then get out again. It's like, it's sort of like, an MMO in that sense of like I just come and play for a little bit and then remember that I don't want to play a ton of this. I don't want to get I don't want this to become my life again, and then I dip back out.
It really makes me want Palia to come out. That's really the big thing. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to dip back into what is that one? Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. I need to check that one out again because they've had a few updates. Well, the Switch performance sucks, and it's only on the Switch, I think. So, whatever. But the game is cool, and I like everything that's going on with it. But the performance is just rough. Like the more you make your farm cool, the worse your game gets. So it's like hard to want to, put stuff together because you're like, well, it's just gonna be. There's diminishing returns here. The cooler I make my village or whatever. So yeah.
There's also a PlayStation showcase next week. That's happening.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, it's probably going to be 9 hours of Deathloop. Even after it already came out, they're just going to do a full long play of it and then let you know that they're still making God of War and Forbidden West.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually don't know if they've said specifically what this one's going to be about. But I mean, as a PlayStation owner, I'm excited to see what's coming down the pipeline.
I would love to see a little bit more about God of War. I would love to see that.
I dropped off at the same spot I dropped off last time. I gotta finish that game, but I made it to Fairy Zone, and I was like, I'll keep going. I mean, I'll finish it eventually, but
you gotta get through that shit. You gotta get through that shit.
I mean, it's a pretty simple story so far. Mom dead, nice tree girl, go mountain, burn ashes or whatever. So I'm like not too deep in.
There's so much more to it.
Dad mean, like son, hate son.
It's one of the best written. Oh, it's one of the best written games. When that and Red Dead 2 came out, it was really hard for me to decide which I liked better.
Well, I would say for my money, Red Dead, because so far, I've only heard the word son spoken 100 times, 200 times. Boy, I'm sorry, not son, boy. It's just a lot of boy.
It's so good.
Because it'll be like, Dad, do I need to get this? He's like, boy. And he's like, but Dad, he's like, boy. And you're like, okay, well, that's the game.
Yeah,
you just tell your son to shut up a bunch and then throw an axe.
Kratos is kind of a bad dad. He's kind of a shitty dad.
I'm sure it'll be. I mean, I'm being a dick, but I enjoy the game. Like from what I've played of it, it hasn't really I don't know, pulled me in the way I wanted it to the couple times I do it. But I think I'll probably I gotta finish Tsushima because I keep thinking about that game more and more. Like I actually enjoy that game quite a bit, so I've been trying to get my way back to that. I think because I'm just a bitch for Japan. I just get horny for any Japan history and shit because they're just way cooler than us.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
well, are we gonna call it there? Is that games?
Yeah, we gotta fight children, dude, on the internet. And if we don't do it today, we may never do it. And if we don't do it in our allotted time window, it may never happen.
It may never happen.
We gotta schedule it, otherwise, fucking Tim Sweeney will come and say, "No more V-Bucks for you, douche." Play on my clock in or don't play Fortnite, you dick. Is basically what he's saying. He's like, show up for your shift or you get nothing. Okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks everybody for checking it out. I don't know. Well, we just put up Cat in the Hat, so that episode's up for you. And Outlaw Golf also came out. I don't know what's going on next week. We may not have any episodes. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. It's a weird weekend for me. So it's odd for me to get out and do things in the world, but when I do, boy, does it get in the way.
Well, actually, wait. When are you going out of town?
Let's
end the episode. Hey, bye, guys.
Bye.